All right, we got Ish Smith here. Really excited to have you. Washington Wizards point guard. On the road right now, getting ready for a game. Ish, really appreciate your time, man. Just wanted to give you a chance to, or give our community a chance, a healthy baller, to get a chance to know you a little bit. You're definitely a fan favorite, locally here, and want to get a chance to see like your the daily workings. How you prep up. As an NBA basketball player, you've had a long career so far. So really excited to kind of get some insight from you. Can you give us a little bit of background about yourself? I know you're from Charlotte.
Yeah.
Um, Give us a little bit of background from the beginning. Like how you kind of came up.
Yeah, so born from Harrisburg, North Carolina. It's like the suburbs of Charlotte. B, we've talked a lot about it. So being from there, I had two older sisters. One was 8 years older than me and 5 years older than me. And so when you got two older protective sisters, they were always looking out. And then me and my brother was 11 months apart. But my mom and dad had always told me when I started, when I was like 2 or 3 years old, that I always loved to play basketball. And my dad was like a huge basketball fan. And so it's funny when I went back to the house during after we left the bubble, my mom's got all these cassettes of like Michael Jordan 96 tapes, 98 tapes. And I remember as kids, Pistol Pete tapes. And
Oh
I
yeah.
remember as kids, my dad, he like would pop them in and we would watch them. He would record them and then we would rewatch them, rewatch them. So as a young age, like I really had a love for the game. My dad, I had put some cement down in the back of the house, put goals up, and so I would go out there and play. I would watch those tapes, watch Allen Iverson, watch different guys. Isaiah Thomas, I was a huge fan of his. Like watch their tapes and then go out there and replicate it. And so as a young age, I really do, I really had a love for the game. And I think that's probably where it all came from and stemmed from. It wasn't always easy, B. Like I wasn't a highly recruited kid. Like, was I ranked? Yeah, I think I was ranked. I saw the other day on Rivals, I was ranked like 120 something out of 150. And then I think and scouts.com, remember that was like a big one. Like I think like I wasn't ranked at all. And then I committed to Wake Forest and jumped to like 82nd. So I was like, oh, cool, but I wasn't the highly rated dude. But I knew this that I was blessed with speed. Thank the Lord for that. I was always fast. But I watched enough basketball and played enough basketball where I started controlling my speed, knowing how to get guys basketballs, knocking down shots. So just kind of playing and I tell people this all the time too, be like you got to work on your game, yes, but I think your training, taking care of your body, like doing those specific and certain things that you pushed me to do last year and that you have to continue to do as you get older, um, is important so you can have longevity. And so even at a young age, I kind of realized that and understood that. And it has helped me along the way to get where I'm at today.
Yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate that. And you kind of jumped ahead on me. Like, yeah, I was so curious to know if you. I mean, I know we've had a lot of conversations over last year or so, but I know you were a big deal at Wake Forest. But I wanted to ask too, like during that time of coming up, at what stage in your life did you know you had potential to make the NBA?
Well, I always said I wanted to play in the NBA. I'm sure that's everybody one that said that. Um,
But
I
at
knew
some
I
point,
had
it's
some.
reality.
Yeah, I honestly, I always said it, and I do feel like you got to speak things in existence. So I always said it. I knew I was like fast. I knew that was something that I always had that
Uh-huh.
nobody else had. And as you know, you got to have something that's elite. Steph is an elite shooter.
Yeah.
I might have elite speed. Brad is an elite scorer.
Yeah.
Now we got Russ. Russ is an elite athlete who can like good
Everything.
gracious, like everything right. Um, and we can go down the list of everybody's on our team has
Yeah.
some. DB is an elite shooter.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100.
So you got to have something that stands, that's special. And I think that's something that is at a young age I didn't understand, but now I do understand that when guys come in the league or when guys ask me about, the next level, I'm like, these guys have something that's elite. They have an elite skill. It's gonna be difficult for a coach and be, this that had like somebody that has everything. Like, what do I do with somebody that does everything pretty good?
Yeah.
and not one thing that's like extremely well or whatever the case is. And that's not saying you don't have a spot in the NBA. No, it's just like you got to have something that stands alone. So at a young age, I kind of knew like, yo, I'm fast. If I
Yeah.
could just grow, I'll be okay. And so I grew a little bit in like inches and by inches. I said if I get to 6 feet, I'll be okay. I finally made it to like 6 feet, 6'1". So I was okay with that. But we all have a dream. We all, and I tell people, like, don't fall back on your dream. Fall forward. Like, that's what you push
Like that.
forward, push forward, push forward. Like, shoot all your bullets out. And then if you don't make it, that's okay. At least you can be like, it's going to lead you to something else. But for me, it was just something that I just always kind of had that push. And when I got to college, it kind of became like a reality once I probably left my senior year. Well, my senior year I had a pretty good senior year, and then after that, that's when I think it became a reality. Like, oh, I can do this. But I knew I just wanted to get in the dance. I went undrafted, so I knew I was like, whether I go first round or second round or undrafted, I just want to get into the dance because I cannot dance looking outside the party.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blair, you know this. Like, you can't dance like,
Love
hey
it.
man, it's over capacity. No, no, no. I didn't want to be that kid. I just wanted to get in. And so once I got in, then that's when I had to prove myself.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love that. In some capacity, you've always been sort of an underdog.
Yeah.
Fighting your way through, and even to this day. I mean, I know you're 32 or 33, 32,
32.
32. So
32,
like,
yeah.
I mean, you've been long tenured in the league, which is incredible. And I know from my personal experience, like so much, I learned so much from you as an athlete because, man, you've had a look at a lot of different teams in the NBA. And you've had a long journey just in basketball in general. But one thing that really stuck out with me was like how consistent you were and how persistent you were. Like I would ask you, when we could work out, and you always just say, "Hey, you just tell me, and I'm going to be there."
I'm gonna
There
be
was
there.
no leg pulling, none of that. Like you were ready to show up, and even on days that we had off, you were in the gym doing something. And
Yeah.
one of my favorite lines is like, "I feel like success is not an accident," and your habits, your daily routine. There's a trail. It's a trail to success in some way, shape, or form, and in some cases, for some people, a trail to failure. If you have bad habits, right? And
Yeah.
so I was just so impressed with your consistency of work. After all these years of being in the NBA, but not only that too, like a lot of people wouldn't know this because they don't have access to it like I did, but on our metrics in terms of your speed and intensity and running on the court, you were always sky high. You were always one of the fastest. You're logging some of the highest miles. And your ability to do that day in and day out and show up every day, it was just really impressive. But that's a lifetime's worth of work, putting that work in and your body being used to it, right?
Yes,
Um,
sir.
but I always wanted to ask too, like, in the league, well, not just in the league, but in a lot of sports, you always sort of hear like, man, these guys have a high motor.
Yeah.
And then you hear like, oh, this guy's got no motor.
Right.
You don't hear a whole lot of in between, like average
No.
motor, right? But you obviously have a high motor and you bring it every single day. No matter if you're playing a few minutes or a lot of minutes on the court, you're bringing the energy. What really allows you, outside of just general motivation, what allows you to bring that motor every single day at a high level? Because that is just so tough.
Yeah, you know what, Blair, it was crazy because I've learned it from several different people, but I just always when I stepped on the floor, my dad told me this when I was at a young age. He was like, Ish, you never know who's watching you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yes, sir. Like, what does that mean? He was like, you never know who's watching you. It might be somebody who's never been a basketball fan ever in their life. And they watched you and was like, hey, I like basketball. Or they see you and saw, and this is when I was a young age, and they see your speed and your ability, and they're like, man, that's fun. Like that's fun to watch. And so my dad was like, no matter what, you might not make every shot, you might not miss every shot. But I'm gonna tell you this: you need to leave an impression on somebody every time they watch you play, no matter how it is, and it needs to be with your effort.
Yep.
Like you have to play with your, and you have to use your ability and your God-given ability, and that's your speed. You can't walk the ball up the floor. It's not going like that's not your ability. Uh, you have to use your speed and your ability and your creativity. And I remember him telling me that. I remember him telling me that at a young age. And so I used to always be like, well, look, I might not have 30 every night. I might score 8 that night. I might score 14. Who knows? But I'll tell you this, you going to leave being like, holy freaking crap. That dude just does not stop. But I remember so I always play fast. My high school coach, we used to press. We was almost like BCU when Shaka Smart was there in high school. But I remember getting to the NBA, and I tell people this story all the time. JJ Barea gave me my like welcome to the NBA moment.
Wow.
So we playing against Dallas, and he was the one to show me like that the role that I play now is like a valuable role because everybody wants to come in and want to be a star. We in high school, middle school, college, AAU, NBA, everybody wants to be a star. And I tell people you got to be a star in your role. So I had not known who JJ Barea was. I came in undrafted 2010, 2011 year. So I come in there, funny story, playing against Dallas. I'm in Houston. I'm on third on the depth chart. It's Aaron Brooks, Kyle Lowry, and myself.
Yep.
So Aaron Brooks, Kyle Lowry, I think, set out of that preseason game. So it's Aaron Brooks and myself. So in that team, we had Yao Ming, Luis Scola, Kevin Martin.
Vets,
We had some vets. Shane Battier, Jared Jeffries. We had some great vets. Taught us a lot. Kyle, like I said, Aaron. But I remember, and I'm missing some names. But I remember going into that game. We played against Dallas. So I'm hyped. I'm like, I get to play against Jason Kidd. This is a Hall of Famer. Jason Terry, impressive. Dirk, get to play against Dirk. Like, I'm looking at all these stars like, yeah, like, I'm going to prove okay, I'm going to prove that I'm supposed to be here. And I'm going to prove it against these superstars. They probably not even paying attention to me. And I remember I had never heard of JJ Barea at the time. And so Aaron was started, played well. He had just came off most improved, Aaron Brooks. So he had played well, and he was, playing really well. So I came off the bench. I think we were up like 6 or 8. I came in, and JJ Barea ripped me a new one. I'm talking about with his pace.
Yeah.
Like it was like Blair, he was just coming up, pick and roll, come down 3. Okay, come down, push it up, lay up, drop it off. Like he was, when I came back out the game, we were down like 8, but he had changed the whole complexion of the game. He might have scored like in that little stretch, because you know how it is. You come in that 4-minute mark in the first, and then you play all the way to about the 6-minute mark, 7-minute mark, if you rolling in the second.
Yeah.
And in that stretch, I'm talking about changed. He had like 6 points, changed the whole game. And I remember leaving, being like, holy crap. Like, and he did it again in the second half, played well, changed the whole game around. Now, fast forward, you remember they won that championship, and a lot of it was because of JJ.
Yeah.
But I remember that motor, like during that time in that league, I was like, okay, so you can come off the bench and change this whole game. And I took that role, and I took that to like heart. And so I'd always play like that. But when I got to the NBA, JJ, whether he realized it or not, helped me realize like, okay, I can be a star in this role because of my speed, my ability to change defense, push the tempo, knock down, just create havoc with your speed on the offense and defensive end. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. I remember watching him on Jimmy Kimmel. He was everywhere. But he was, JJ, I think that year might have averaged like 8, 9 points, 10 points, 6 assists, 7 assists. But he just changed the pace of the game, and he was huge in the playoffs. And so that was an awakening moment for me to be like, oh, okay, like everybody's not going to be a superstar, but they can be a superstar in their role.
Yeah, I love that. I love that story, because think about that. That can go one direction or the other, right? Like, what if you took that experience and just like, man, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I can hang with this. Like, your mindset could go in such a different direction of like, man, I'm not sure if I can hang with this dude, even though I'm fast. But instead, you chose to take the route of like, wow, like that guy's got a role and responsibility, and that's what he does. And I could have my own role and responsibility. And I feel like that's such a powerful lesson for our healthy baller kids and community, because I think in any aspect in life, like we all need to have roles and responsibilities. For you as a point guard, if you decide to do some stuff that's not a part of your role and responsibility, you might get, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you start doing something that Coach Brooks is not a part of the plan, or if I, as a strength and conditioning coach, decide that I'm going to start to play physical therapist, there's going to be issues there, right? So I think this is a conversation we could go off for a long tangent about how critical roles and responsibilities are. But I really appreciate that story. I think that's super, super valuable, and just a great lesson overall. I'm very impressed that's the route you took to use that experience, because that's the easy one to be like, man, the direction, like that's tough. That's tough to deal with, because that's every night, I'm sure too, right? So
every night. And now, like you said, it's like guys are good, man. It's all 450 guys are good. They're here for a specific reason. And so some of these nights we be thinking like, oh man, the rookies come in like, I can't wait to play against LeBron. Dennis Schroeder, it's just different guys that now they got on their team. They got Montrezl Harrell, they got the kid Horton is now all of a sudden came out. He'll give you 31 night. So it's like different guys. So
that's incredible. Yeah. Hey, let's jump into. I'd love to. I mean, I know your daily routine for the most part, but let's give our our audience like a little bit of a quick glance of what your daily routine is like. Maybe even starting backwards, or like how important your sleep is. As an NBA player, because like I said too, like you're absolutely one of the hardest working guys I've ever seen in the league, especially just from a statistic standpoint. But how are you preparing your body? How are you recovering? What's a little bit of your daily routine like?
Yeah, so B, I'm always there every day. The thing though is this: now with the COVID test, you got to be there, you got to be up early. But just let's pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID, that's fine.
Let's think about last year.
Yeah.
I would, usually come in around. I would try to get in there around 8:39. So I would usually go to bed around. As you get older, like being out ain't even fun anymore. Like, and if you want to have your fun, I tell people this all the time. If you want to have your fun, do it in the summer.
Yeah.
Like, don't do it in the season, because it's gonna wear on you.
Yep.
Not everybody can do it. Not everybody's these great athletes who can do it. Like, so for me, like, and at the pace that I play, it's just hard for me to do. So usually I go to bed around 11 or 12 o'clock. And usually wake up around 8. I try to get me at least 8 hours in.
Yep.
So I usually wake up, brush my teeth, shower, do what I got to do. Be on the road by like 8:30, and then get to the gym around 9. Get to the gym around 9. Meet with last year was Naveen, our training staff now. You get on the table, get your work in. Then from there, go to the weight room, get whatever prep that's needed to get ready for the weight room, get taped. After I get taped, get dressed, go out there and shoot. Shoot with Corey, shoot with DA, get some good little work in before practice. Then after that, so I do a little prepping with DA for about 15, 20 minutes, just shots, just little basic stuff. And then that is usually around, let's say practice at 11. That's usually 10:15. I go out there with DA. So we usually done around 10:30, 10:45. Then do like 15 minutes, all the point guards on one court, big men on one court. You know how this be. And then we do that for like 15 minutes. Then we go through our practice. And then after practice, do post-practice shooting. Then after post-practice shooting, I usually go get a massage. And then after massage, I get in the cold tub. Then after the cold tub, shower, hit the road, come back home, and then I usually take like a 2-hour nap. And then after, I love my naps. Then after my 2-hour nap, just kind of relax, get ready for the next day. And that's a non-game day.
Yeah.
Like I got my Normatec right here.
Yeah.
As soon as we're done, I'm gonna strap on the boots, get on Normatec, look at my thing, and because we used to always talk about this, B. Like it's important to take care of your body, like
Mm-hmm.
it just is. Because think about it, if I'm beat up, and then the other guy's taking care of his body, he's not beat up. He's got an edge on me.
Absolutely.
So me not being able to guard him, and coach is like, "What? Where's the energy? Where's the juice?" Like I have to be able to be like, "All right, let me discipline myself because if I don't feel as good, and this guy, because you know how it is, you can feel sore and still play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other guy might be doing what he's supposed to do, and he's not feeling as sore. So now he's got another step on me, or maybe I might foul him because I don't have the juice or the energy that he has. So, but that's usually a non-game day routine. I got to get my 2 hour naps in, even though last year Naveen hated that because he
Yeah.
said it would mess up my sleep. But I just got to after a day like that.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's a great look, into your daily routine, and I think that's a humbling schedule compared to what probably most people think. They think you guys are just making all this money, and you show up for practice for like an hour and a half, and then you go home. But it's actually a pretty full on day. And look, everything adds up. It's all cumulative effort. So you've decided, I'm sure a lot earlier in your career too, if you have really good habits, they're going to accumulate, using the cold tub, using the Normatec, taking your naps, getting enough sleep. If you decided not to do that, you're probably shaving off a percentage or a fraction of, performance, when you
Yeah,
show up, and you got to show up every night. No one really cares in the audience or the fans if you're feeling sick, if you're not doing well, you have to perform, right? So every
you
little
gotta
bit
do.
matters. So
Yeah.
that's a really cool look into your
Let
schedule.
me let me t- let me tell you this. I remember it was my rookie year. I was playing in Houston, and I remember I think I played a little bit. I don't even remember. Like that was I didn't play a lot. So I remember, I did my little workout after the game, went upstairs, did a workout, came downstairs, jumped in the shower, and when I was about to leave, I seen Shane Battier had these ice packs on his knees. And I was so blessed to have some of those vets. Cause at that time,
Mhm.
like everybody was my age at that time, like 32, 30,
Yeah.
some 28s, 34s, 35s. Like everybody was around. Like they were either late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s. That's what the locker room looked like. And then you had the guys coming in. There was 22, 21, 20. Maybe some guys did 2 years and then came in, but it wasn't like any one and dones like it was when John them started coming in, and then that Kentucky class started coming in and doing one and dones. So pretty much the locker room was really older and a lot of maturity. So they taught me so much. So I remember Shane Battier had ice bags on his knee. He said, "Young fella, how long you want to play in this league?" I was like, "Oh man, I want to play a long time." He said, "Well, I know you're not playing, but I want you to get in a routine putting ice on your knees, whether you play or not, after every game." And this is my rookie year, and I wasn't playing a lot. And
Yep.
that stuck with me. And then all of a sudden, as I progressed, it's 2014, fast forward, I was in Phoenix. And I remember something happened to my freaking calf, like nothing bad, just kicked in it. And the guys was like, "Ish, get in the cold tub." And I remember getting in the cold tub, freezing, like, the first 2 minutes are the worst. But I remember getting in there and getting out, and the calf was like loosened up. I was good, like ready to roll the next game. Where it would have been a situation to where I think I probably would have been out a little bit longer if I would have done it.
Yep.
But I wasn't out. No, didn't miss any days. And I started getting the routine in 2014 on. I'm gonna get in the cold tub after every game.
Nice. Yeah, that's great, man. That's what a lucky experience too. You had some vets to help teach you that path.
Yeah,
Can you imagine, joining a young team where it's sort of a free for all? You got to rely on the coaching staff to
yeah,
make, point you in the right direction. But young guys are young guys that sort of trot their own path sometimes. But that was a great opportunity for you to learn and figure things out early.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey man, well I've taken enough of your time, man. I hope you don't have a 2 hour nap now coming in, but
No, 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 no. B, man, I can talk all day to you, man. I
oh
appreciate,
man, me too.
honestly, man, I really appreciate what you did for me last year, man. I don't think the kids that you're working with understand how big of an impact, how many players you've been around, how many guys you've impacted and helped get along the way. So for me, I want to tell you thank you because last year was a crazy year.
Yeah,
Uh,
crazy.
then getting in the bubble and doing all those things. So I hope the kids, I hope like they really take advantage of the knowledge that you have, the players that you've impacted. I mean, from the Grievances, the Kevins, that like I'm telling you, man, and I don't think the kids really understand the type of work that you have to, because we're a little bit of old school way.
Sure.
Uh, and but you got to meet, we got to meet everybody in the middle because it is a newer time. But I'm really appreciative, man. I'm so thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for putting up with me last year. And we had a lot of fun, man. I really appreciate it. But thanks for considering me, man, because I could talk to you all day. We had our talks all day. And
Absolutely.
sometimes it wasn't even about freaking basketball. It'd be all over the place, man.
Oh no, it's all good, man. I appreciate your time, and you were definitely high on my list of people to connect with, and you made my experience such an incredible one in the NBA while I was there. But hopefully, I mean, we'll stay in contact, of course. Hopefully, this isn't the last time
Sure.
we do a
Oh,
Zoom,
no.
because we could talk for hours and share.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of great nuggets in in this interview here that the kids can learn from and the parents can really benefit from. So I can't thank you enough, and it means a lot for you to donate your time. And man, I wish you the best of luck this season. I'm so excited for you and excited to see you do great.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, man. Tell your family, everybody say hey.
I sure will. Yeah, take care, Ish. Thanks,
All
man.
right, B. See you, bro. Thanks, man.
See ya.